Dear students, welcome to the online class. In the previous presentation, we discussed about the structure of human mouth, teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. In this presentation, we will discuss about the structure of human pharynx and esophagus. Let us start with the pharynx. Pharynx is a funnel-shaped cavity that connects oral cavity and nasal cavity to esophagus and trachea. It is about 5 inches long. It has no direct role in digestion except the movement of food from the oral cavity to esophagus. The pharynx is distinguished into 3 regions, namely nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. About the nasopharynx. Nasopharynx is the upper portion of the pharynx. It lies above the oral cavity and it represents the space between the internal ears and the soft palate. Nasopharynx is lined by pseudostratified columnar and ciliated epithelium. Maldeus ring. It is a ring-like arrangement of lymphoid tissues in the pharynx. It includes number 1, adenoid, also known as pharyngeal tonsil. It is located in the upper midline of the nasopharynx. Number 2, tubal tonsil. There are 2 tubal tonsils. Each one is present around the opening of auditory tube or eustachian tube. Number 3, palatine tonsils. There are 2 palatine tonsils. Each one is present on each side of the oropharynx. The 4th tonsil is lingual tonsil. It is located on the posterior third of the tongue. The second part of the human pharynx is oropharynx. The oropharynx lies behind the oral cavity. It is a space between the uvula and the hyoid bone. The oropharynx is lined by stratified, non-keratinized squamous epithelium. The third part of the human pharynx is laryngopharynx. Laryngopharynx is also known as hypopharynx and it lies inferior to the epiglottis. It extends to the portion where the laryngeal and esophageal pathways begin. The laryngopharynx is connected to the esophagus posteriorly. It is lined with stratified squamous epithelium. It helps in the passage of food to the esophagus and air to the larynx. Let us discuss about the esophagus. Esophagus is also known as food pipe or gullet. It is a muscular tubular organ having 25 cm long. It passes through the neck and thorax, and behind the trachea it opens to the stomach through the diaphragm. It serves to conduct the food and fluids to the stomach by the peristaltic contractions of its muscular wall. About the histology, that means various tissues of the esophageal wall. The wall of the esophagus is made up of 4 layers similar to that of the stomach and intestine. Number 1, mucosa. It is the innermost layer made up of 3 layers, namely mucosal epithelium, which consists of stratified squamous epithelium, lamina propria, which is a thin layer of loose connective tissue with a few lymphoid aggregates, and muscularis mucosa, having some smooth muscles. The second major layer is submucosa. It is a connective tissue having areolar tissues, blood, nerves, and submucosal glands. The third layer is muscularis layer. It consists of both circular and longitudinal muscles. Its alternate contraction and relaxation lead to peristalsis. The fourth layer is adventitia, also known as serosa. It is the outermost layer made up of connective tissues. The outer layer of esophagus above the diaphragm is known as adventitia because it is composed of collagen fibers only, but the outer layer of esophagus in the abdomen region is known as serosa, and it is mainly made up of visceral peritoneum. Esophageal sphincters. The esophagus has 2 muscular rings or sphincters, one at the top called upper esophageal sphincter and another at the bottom called lower esophageal sphincter. The lower esophageal sphincter is also known as gastroesophageal sphincter or cardiac sphincter. The lower esophageal sphincter helps to prevent the reflux of acidic stomach content to the esophagus. These are some of the basic information about the human pharynx and esophagus. Thank you for watching this presentation.